The hallway on the 50th floor of Sullivan Dynamics smelled like lemon polish and money. Maya Jackson, 30, pushed her cleaning cart through the sleek corridor, the wheels squeaking faintly against the polished marble. Her navy blue uniform was crisp, her curly hair tied up in a high bun, and her dark eyes scanned the glass-walled offices with a mix of boredom and quiet calculation. 4 years of scrubbing floors and wiping down executive desks had taught her one thing. The higher up you went in this Chicago skyscraper, the dirtier the secrets got. She was halfway through her rounds when the elevator dinged, and out stumbled Jake Sullivan, the 40-year-old CEO of Sullivan Dynamics. His navy suit was wrinkled, his brown hair a mess, and his green eyes bloodshot from what Maya could only assume was a night of tequila and bad decisions. He was clutching a Starbucks cup like it was his lifeline, and as he staggered forward, he didn't see Maya's cart until it was too late. "Shit," Jake yelped as his coffee splattered across Maya's uniform, the hot liquid soaking through to her skin. The cup hit the floor with a pathetic plop, and Maya froze, her jaw tight. "Oh damn, I'm sorry," Jake slurred, waving his hands like he could magically undo the mess. "Didn't see you there, what's your name?" Maya raised an eyebrow, wiping her hands on her apron. "Maya, and maybe you'd see me if you weren't stumbling around like a drunk frat boy." Jake blinked, caught off guard by her sharp tone. A slow grin spread across his face, the kind that had probably charmed countless models and influencers into his penthouse. "Whoa, feisty. You always talk to the boss like that, Maya. Only when the boss spills coffee on me." She shot back, grabbing a rag from her cart to dab at her uniform. "Pro tip, Mr. Sullivan. Stick to water after a bender. Less mess." Jake laughed, a deep, rough sound that echoed down the hall. "Fair point. You're, what, the cleaning lady? You're kinda cute for someone pushing a mop." Maya's eyes narrowed. "Cute? Save the compliments for your Tinder dates, pal. I've got work to do." She shoved her cart forward, deliberately nudging his shin as she passed. Jake yelped again, hopping on one foot, but his grin didn't fade. If anything, he looked intrigued, like he'd just found a new toy. All right, I'm sorry," he called after her, still chuckling. "Let me make it up to you. Dry cleaning's on me." Maya didn't bother turning around. "Keep your money, Sullivan. I'm good." But as she rounded the corner, she couldn't help the smirk tugging at her lips. Jake Sullivan, billionaire playboy, was a walking disaster, but damn if he didn't have a certain charm. Too bad she wasn't here to play his games. Inside the executive suite, chaos was brewing. Jake staggered into his office, a glass-walled fortress with a view of Chicago's glittering skyline. His assistant, Lauren Baxter, 37, was already there, her blonde hair pulled into a severe bun, her red lipstick sharp enough to cut glass. She was pacing, phone glued to her ear, her voice a mix of panic and irritation. "No, you don't get it," Lauren snapped into the phone. "This is a $300 million deal and our translator just bailed. Family emergency, my ass. Find someone else now." She hung up, tossing the phone onto the desk with a clatter. Jake slumped into his leather chair, rubbing his temples. "What's the shit show now, Lauren?" Lauren spun to face him, her eyes narrowing at his disheveled state. "Jesus, Jake, you look like you slept in a dumpster. Our Chinese delegation is downstairs, and we've got no translator. Li Wei and his team are here to finalize the deal, and we're screwed without someone who speaks Mandarin." Jake groaned, kicking his feet up on the desk. "Can't we just use Google Translate or something?" Lauren's face turned red. "Are you kidding me? This is Li Wei, Jake. The guy's a legend in Shanghai. He'll walk if we disrespect him with some shitty app. We need a pro, and we need one in, 15 minutes." Marcus Lee, the CFO and Jake's best friend, poked his head into the office. At 45, Marcus had a dad bod and a sense of humor that made him the only tolerable person in most board meetings. "Yo, Jake, you hear about this? We're toast. Li Wei's team just pulled up in 3 blacked-out Rolls Royces. No pressure or anything." "Fuck me," Jake muttered, dragging a hand through his hair. "Lauren, you've called every translator in the city, right?" "Every single one," she said, crossing her arms. No one's available on this short notice. We're done, Jake. This deal's gonna tank, and it's on you. Jake's stomach churned, and not just from the hangover. Sullivan Dynamics was his baby, built from a garage startup to a tech empire. But this deal with Li Wei's company was the key to cracking the Asian market. $300 million, and his reputation were on the line. He glanced out the window, watching the Chinese delegation step out of their cars, their suits pristine, their faces unreadable. Okay, let's think, Jake said, standing up and pacing. There's gotta be someone in this building who speaks Mandarin. Interns, assistants, anyone. Lawrence scoffed. Good luck. Most of our staff can barely speak English properly. From the corner of the room, a calm voice cut through the chaos. I speak Mandarin. Every head turned. Maya stood in the doorway, her cleaning cart parked behind her, a rag dangling from her hand. Her expression was neutral, but her eyes held a glint of defiance, like she was daring them to laugh. Lauren's lips curled into a smirk. Oh, please, Maya, this isn't a high school language class. We're talking about a multi-million-dollar deal here. Jake raised an eyebrow, leaning against his desk. You serious coffee girl, you speak Mandarin? Maya crossed her arms, unfazed by the nickname. Mandarin, Cantonese, and a bit of Taiwanese. I can handle your little meeting, if you're desperate enough to let a cleaning lady save your ass. Marcus let out a low whistle. Damn, Jake, she's got balls. You gonna roll with this? Jake studied Maya, his hangover-fogged brain trying to process what he was hearing. She didn't look like she was bluffing. Her posture was steady, her gaze locked on his, and there was something about her quiet confidence that made him pause. He'd spent years reading people in boardrooms, and Maya wasn't backing down. All right, prove it, he said, crossing his arms. Say something in Mandarin. Impress me. Maya didn't hesitate. She stepped forward, her voice clear and melodic as she spoke. Rong Xing Zai Zeli Yi, Nimen Jian Mian. Wiomen Si Wang Zai Si Hezua Neng Zai Lai Suang Fang Deli Yi. The words flowed effortlessly, her pronunciation crisp, her tone professional but warm. The room went silent. Even Lauren's smirk faltered. Jake didn't understand a word, but he could feel the authority in Maya's voice, the kind of fluency that didn't come from a Duolingo streak. What'd you say? He asked, his voice softer now. Maya tilted her head, a faint smile playing on her lips. I said it's an honor to meet you here, and we hope this cooperation brings mutual benefits. It's a standard business greeting in Chinese culture. Classy, respectful, the kind of thing Li Wei eats up. Marcus clapped slowly, grinning. Well, holy shit, I'm sold. Jake, you gonna let her save the day or what? Lauren stepped forward, her heels clicking sharply. Jake, you can't be serious. She's a janitor. You're gonna let her sit in on the biggest deal of the year? The Chinese will laugh us out of the room. Jake ignored her, his eyes still on Maya. There was something about her, something he couldn't quite place. She wasn't just some random employee, she was different. And right now, different was all he had. 20 minutes, he said finally, pointing at Maya. Get yourself together, put on something that doesn't scream mop duty, and meet me in the conference room. Don't make me regret this, coffee girl. Maya didn't flinch. Don't worry, Sullivan, I've got this. She turned to leave, then paused, glancing back with a smirk. And maybe lay off the coffee. You're a walking hazard. Marcus burst out laughing as Maya pushed her cart out of the room. Jake shook his head, a grin tugging at his lips despite himself. Who the hell is this woman? Lauren crossed her arms, her face a mask of disdain. You're insane, Jake. When this blows up, it's your funeral. But Jake wasn't listening. For the first time in a long time, he felt something other than boredom or a hangover. Curiosity, maybe even excitement. Maya Jackson was a wild card, and he was about to find out just how wild she could be. Down in the staff room, Maya was a whirlwind of motion. She yanked off her stained uniform, tossing it into a locker with a muttered, "Piece of crap." Tina Morales, the 28-year-old receptionist and Maya's best friend, was already there, holding up a black blazer and skirt she'd swiped from the lost and found. You're insane, girl. Tina said, her eyes wide with excitement. "You're really gonna walk into that meeting and play translator? With Jake Sullivan? The man's a walking tabloid headline." 1. Maya slipped into the blazer, adjusting it in the mirror. It was a little tight, but it'd do. "Yeah, well, he's also a hot mess who needs me to save his ass. I'm not doing this for him. I'm doing it because I'm tired of being invisible." Tina grinned, handing her a pair of heels. "Invisible? Honey, after today, they're gonna see you from space. You sure you can handle leeway? Dude's like a big deal." Maya met her own reflection's gaze, her jaw set. "I handled 4 years of Lauren's bullshit. I can handle a room full of suits." She'd studied Asian linguistics at Howard before life derailed her. Dreamsure mom's diabetes, the medical bills, the endless grind. But all those nights wiping down conference tables, she'd listened. She'd learned. Every deal, every strategy, every dirty little secret that floated through these halls, she'd soaked it up like a sponge. Tina stepped back, admiring her work. "Damn, Maya, you look like you belong up there. Go show 'em what you're made of." Maya took a deep breath, slipping on the heels. They pinched, but she didn't care. For the first time in years, she felt like the woman she'd meant to be, not the one who scrubbed floors, but the one who could command a room. She grabbed a notepad from her locker, squared her shoulders, and headed for the conference room. Back in his office, Jake was trying to shake off the fog of his hangover. He splashed cold water on his face in the private bathroom, staring at his reflection. "Get it together, man," he muttered. Maya's face kept flashing in his mind, those sharp eyes, that quick tongue. She was trouble, no doubt, but the kind of trouble that made him want to know more. Lauren stormed in, her voice low and venomous. "Jake, you're making a mistake. That girl's gonna embarrass us. You think Li Wei's gonna take us seriously with a janitor at the table?" Jake straightened, wiping his face with a towel. "She's not just a janitor, Lauren. She speaks Mandarin better than our last translator. And frankly, I'm out of options." Lauren's eyes flashed. "You're thinking with your dick, not your brain. She's playing you, Jake." He shot her a warning look. "Enough. Get the conference room ready. We're doing this." "No." As Lauren stormed out, Jake leaned against the sink, his mind racing. Maya Jackson. 4 years in his building, and he'd never noticed her. How the hell had that happened? He grabbed a fresh tie, his fingers fumbling with the knot. Something told him this meeting was about to change everything, not just for the deal, but for him. If Maya's ballsy move got you hooked, you're gonna love seeing how she flips the script in that conference room. Will she save Jake's deal or crash and burn? Hit that subscribe button and drop a comment. Tell me, you think Maya's got what it takes to own this? The conference room on the 50th floor of Sullivan Dynamics was a cathedral of glass and steel, with a long mahogany table that screamed money and floor-to-ceiling windows showcasing Chicago's skyline. Maya Jackson stepped inside, her borrowed black blazer and skirt, hugging her curves just enough to make her feel like she belonged almost. The heels Tina had shoved into her hands pinched like hell, but she kept her chin up, her notepad clutched like a shield. She was ready to save Jake Sullivan's ass, even if half the room was staring at her like she'd wandered into the wrong building. Jake was already there, leaning against the table, his tie still crooked from his earlier coffee disaster. He looked up as Maya entered, and for a split second, his green eyes widened. "Damn coffee girl," he said, a grin tugging at his lips. "You clean up nice." Maya rolled her eyes, setting her notepad down with a deliberate thud. "Thanks, Sullivan, but I'm here to save your sorry deal, not to get hit on. Can we focus?" Jake chuckled, unfazed. "All business, huh? All right, let's see if you're as good as you talk." "Noi." Lauren Baxter, perched at the head of the table like a queen, shot Maya a look that could curdle milk. Her red lipstick was practically a warning sign, and her voice dripped with condescension. "Jake, you sure about this? She's got, 20 minutes of prep? This isn't a game, and Li Wei's not some small-time client." Marcus Lee, the CFO, slouched in his chair, sipping a Diet Coke. "Relax, Lauren. If she flops, we'll just blame Jake's hangover. Right, buddy?" He winked at Jake, who flipped him off with a smirk. Maya ignored them, her eyes scanning the room. The Chinese delegation would be here any minute, and she could feel the weight of every stare, Lauren's disdain, Marcus's amusement, Jake's curiosity. She'd spent 4 years being invisible in this building, wiping down these very tables, while execs like Lauren talked over her head. Today, she was done being background noise. The door opened, and Li Wei's team filed in 5 men in impeccable suits, their expressions calm but unreadable. Li Wei, a compact man in his 50s with sharp eyes and a silver streak in his hair, led the group. He nodded politely as Jake stood to greet him, shaking hands with the practiced ease of a man who'd closed 1,000 deals. "Mr. Sullivan," Li Wei said in accented English, "a pleasure to be here. We look forward to finalizing our partnership." "Huh." Jake flashed his $1,000,000 smile. "Same here, Mr. Wei. Let's make some money together." He gestured to Maya, who stepped forward. "This is Maya Jackson, our international relations specialist. She'll be handling translation today." Lauren's lips twitched, but she said nothing. Maya caught the subtle jab in Jake's introduction specialist, not janitor. She gave him a quick nod, grateful for the cover, and turned to Li Wei, bowing slightly. "Qian rongxing yin jianmian, wei xiancheng," she said, her Mandarin smooth and warm. "Woman hin gongshe nin de daolai, bing kidai nin de suo." "It's an honor to meet you, Mr. Wei. We're grateful for your visit and look forward to our collaboration." Li Wei's eyes lit up, a small smile breaking his stoic facade. "Neither zongguan fei chang liuli," he replied. "Your Chinese is very fluent. Wo hen gun sing yi wo ni lai bang zu wo men. I'm glad to have you assisting us." Maya smiled, translating for the room. "Mr. Wei says he's impressed with my Chinese and happy to have me here." She caught Jake's eye, and he gave her a subtle thumbs up, his grin wider now. Lauren, meanwhile, looked like she'd swallowed a lemon. The meeting kicked off, and Maya was in her element. She translated Jake's pitch with surgical precision, capturing not just the words but the tone, his confidence, his charm, even his occasional sarcasm. When Li Wei asked technical questions about Sullivan Dynamics AI software, Maya didn't just translate. She added context, explaining cultural nuances that made the Chinese team nod in approval. She even slipped in a light joke about Chicago's unpredictable weather, which got a chuckle from Li Wei's second-in-command. Jake leaned back in his chair watching her work. He'd expected competence, maybe, but this? Maya was running the show, her voice steady, her posture commanding. Every time she glanced his way, he felt a spark, something he hadn't felt in years, not since the early days of building his empire. She wasn't just saving his deal, she was stealing the damn spotlight. Halfway through, Jake leaned over, whispering, "What's the word for partnership again? I want to sound smart." Maya stifled a laugh, whispering back, "It's hezwa, but you just called it hezweed. Maybe stick to English, boss." Jake snorted, covering it with a cough. "Shit, my bad. You're killing it, though." Li Wei noticed the exchange, his eyes narrowing slightly, but he said nothing. The meeting flowed smoothly, the room buzzing with the kind of energy that signaled a deal on the horizon. Maya could feel it, the momentum, the trust building across the table. For the first time in years, she wasn't just a pair of hands holding a mop. She was someone. Then Lauren decided to strike. "Mr. Wei," she said, her voice cutting through the room like a knife. She leaned forward, her smile sugary sweet. "I just think it's so inspiring how we're all coming together today, especially with someone like Maya stepping up. Did you know she's been with us for years, cleaning our offices?" The room went still. Li Wei's smile faded, his brow furrowing as he looked at Maya. His team exchanged glances, their expressions shifting from curiosity to confusion. In Chinese business culture, hierarchy mattered, and Lauren had just painted Maya as the lowest rung on the ladder. Maya's stomach twisted, but she kept her face neutral. She translated Lauren's words for Li Wei, her voice steady. "Miss Baxter says it's inspiring that I'm contributing today, given my long tenure with the company." Li Wei nodded slowly, but the warmth in his eyes was gone. "Kinjia gongzwa hin zhongyao," he said politely. "Cleaning is important work." But his tone carried a hint of discomfort, like he was reassessing the room. Maya translated again, her jaw tight. "Mr. Wei acknowledges the value of all roles." She shot Lauren a look, her eyes burning with controlled fury. Lauren just smiled, crossing her arms like she'd won a round. Jake shifted in his seat, his fingers drumming on the table. "Lauren, maybe let's stick to the deal, yeah?" His voice was low, but there was an edge to it. He glanced at Maya, his expression unreadable, but she could tell he was pissed. The meeting wrapped up with a tentative agreement. Li Wei promised to review the final terms, a diplomatic way of saying he wasn't fully sold. As the Chinese team filed out, shaking hands and exchanging pleasantries, Maya felt the weight of Lauren's stunt settle over her. She'd nailed the translation, but Lauren had turned her into a spectacle. "A curiosity, not a professional." "Nice work, coffee girl," Jake said as the room cleared, his voice softer now. Damn, you were something else." Maya forced a smile, gathering her notepad. "Thanks, but next time, tell your attack dog to keep her mouth shut." She nodded toward Lauren, who was already on her phone, pretending not to listen. Jake's jaw tightened. "Yeah, I'll handle her. You okay?" "I'm fine," Maya said, her tone clipped. "I've dealt with worse." She turned to leave, but Jake called after her. "Hey, hold up. Stay for a sec. We need to debrief." Maya hesitated, glancing at the clock. Her shift was technically over, but something in Jake's voiceless cocky more genuine made her pause. "Fine. 5 minutes, Sullivan. I'm not your secretary." Marcus chuckled from the corner, where he was scrolling through his phone. "Oh, I like her. She's gonna eat you alive, Jake." "Shut up, Marcus," Jake muttered, waving him off. Lauren shot Maya one last glare before stalking out, her heels clicking like gunfire. The office was quiet now, just Jake and Maya, the city lights twinkling through the windows. Jake leaned against his desk, loosening his tie, his eyes fixed on her. "So, level with me," he said. "How the hell does a janitor speak Mandarin like that? You some kind of secret agent or what?" Maya crossed her arms, leaning against the conference table. "No secret agent, just a girl who went to Howard for Asian linguistics before life kicked her in the ass. Mom got sick, bills piled up, and here I am scrubbing your floors." Jake's grin faded, replaced by something softer. "Damn, that's heavy. Why didn't you say anything? You could have been doing way more than cleaning." Maya laughed, a sharp, bitter sound. "Say what? Hey, Mr. Billionaire, I'm overqualified for this mop. People like Lauren don't give people like me a shot. You know that." Jake ran a hand through his hair, looking uncomfortable. "Yeah, well, Lauren's a pain in the ass sometimes. But you were unreal in there. Li Wei was eating out of your hand. Until your assistant decided to play dirty," Maya said, her voice low. "She didn't just embarrass me, Jake. She could have tanked your deal." Jake stepped closer, his voice dropping. "I know, and I'm sorry. I should have shut her down sooner. You didn't deserve that." "No." Maya's breath caught as he closed the distance, his cologne a mix of cedar and something expensive hitting her senses. They were only a foot apart now, his green eyes locked on hers, and for a moment, the room felt too small, too warm. She could see the stubble on his jaw, the faint lines around his eyes that hinted at too many late nights. He was a mess, but damn if he wasn't a good-looking one. "You don't have to apologize for her," Maya said, her voice quieter now. "Just don't let it happen again." Jake's lips twitched, like he was fighting a smile. "You're tough, you know that. Most people would have crumbled under Lauren's bullshit. But you just kept going." Maya shrugged, but her heart was racing. "I've had practice. You don't survive 4 years in this place without a thick skin." They stood there, the silence stretching, charged with something neither of them wanted to name. Jake's gaze dropped to her lips for a split second, and Maya felt a jolt, like a spark jumping between them. She straightened, stepping back before she did something stupid like lean in. "I should go," she said, grabbing her notepad. Tina's probably waiting to grill me about this. Jake nodded, but his eyes didn't leave her. Yeah, okay, but Maya, you're not invisible. Not to me. Not anymore. She paused at the door, her hand on the handle. Good to know, Sullivan. Maybe try noticing the rest of us sometime. She flashed him a smirk and slipped out, her heart pounding like she'd just run a marathon. In the staff room, Maya kicked off the torturous heels, collapsing onto a bench. Tina was there, her eyes wide with anticipation. Spill, girl. How'd it go? Did you slay? Did Jake swoon? Tell me everything. Maya laughed, rubbing her aching feet. I didn't flop, if that's what you're asking. But Lauren tried to screw me over. And Jake, he's complicated. Complicated how? Tina asked, leaning in. Like, I'm a hot CEO and I want you complicated. Maya groaned, tossing a sock at her. Shut up. He's just not what I expected. But it doesn't matter. I'm not here to play Cinderella. Tina grinned. Uh-huh. Keep telling yourself that. But I saw how he looked at you when you left his office earlier. That man's got it bad. Maya shook her head, but she couldn't stop the smile creeping onto her face. Upstairs, Lauren was probably plotting her next move, and the deal with Li Wei was still on shaky ground. But for the first time in years, Maya felt seen, and that was dangerous. Across the hall, Lauren sat in her office, her phone pressed to her ear. I don't care what it takes, she hissed to an unknown caller. That little janitor's not gonna ruin everything I've built. Find me something on her. Anything. She hung up, her red nails tapping the desk. Maya Jackson had just made an enemy, and Lauren Baxter didn't lose. The staff room at Sullivan Dynamics smelled like stale coffee and Lysol, a far cry from the polished glamour of the 50th floor. Maya Jackson slumped onto a bench, her borrowed blazer folded neatly beside her, back in her navy blue uniform. The adrenaline from the meeting with Li Wei had faded, replaced by a gnawing frustration. She'd nailed the translation, made the Chinese team laugh, and still, Lauren Baxter had turned her into a sideshow. 4 years of being invisible, and the second she stepped into the spotlight, someone tried to shove her back into the shadows. Tina Morales burst through the door, her receptionist badge swinging. Girl, you're the talk of the building, she said, tossing her purse onto the bench. People are saying you owned that meeting. Like, owned it. Even Marcus was hyping you up in the break room. Maya snorted, rubbing her temples. Yeah, well, Lauren made sure everyone knows I'm just the janitor playing dress-up. And the Chinese? They were polite, but you could tell they were side-eyeing me after her little stunt. Tina sat beside her, kicking off her flats. Screw Lauren. She's just mad because you outshined her bony ass. And Jake? Word is he couldn't take his eyes off you. Spill. What's the deal with you two? Maya's mind flashed to the moment in Jake's office, the way he'd stepped closer, his voice low, his eyes lingering. She shook it off, grabbing a water bottle from her locker. There's no deal, Tina. He's a hot mess with a penthouse and a rap sheet of exes. I'm just trying to get through this without getting fired. Tina grinned, unconvinced. Uh-huh. Keep telling yourself that, but I'm calling it now. You and Jake are gonna be a thing. Mark my words. No. Before Maya could throw something at her, her phone buzzed. An unknown number, but the area code was international. She frowned, answering cautiously. Hello? Miss Jackson, a familiar voice said, accented but warm. This is Li Wei. I hope I'm not disturbing you. Maya's heart skipped. She mouthed Li Wei to Tina, who gasped and leaned in like she could hear through the phone. No. Not at all, Mr. Wei. What's up? I was very impressed with your performance today, he said. Your fluency, your poesie's rare. My company is expanding in the U.S., and we need someone who understands both Chinese culture and American business. I'd like to discuss a consulting role for you. The salary would be substantial. Maya's mouth went dry. Substantial? As in, more than her current gig of scrubbing toilets for minimum wage. She managed, That's generous, Mr. Wei. Can I think it over? Of course, he said. Let's meet tomorrow, 10 a.m., at the Jade Cafe on Michigan Avenue. Bring your thoughts. She hung up, staring at the phone like it might bite her. Tina grabbed her arm, squealing. Holy shit, Maya. A job offer? From Leeway? You're about to be a big deal. Maya's mind raced. A consulting role could change everything, pay off her mom's medical bills, maybe even let her finish her degree. But it also meant leaving Sullivan Dynamics, leaving Jake. Wait, why the hell was she even thinking about Jake? She shook her head, shoving her phone into her pocket. Don't get too excited, Tina. It's just a talk, and Lauren's probably already plotting to screw me over. Tina smirked. Let her try. You've got game, girl. And speaking of game, you coming to the company party tonight? Free booze, fancy snacks, and a chance to see Jake in a tux. You can't say no. Maya groaned. Pass. I'd rather clean the men's room than deal with Lauren's smug face all night. Tina pouted, but Maya was already grabbing her cart. She needed to clear her head, and nothing did that better than the monotony of wiping down desks. But as she pushed her cart toward the elevators, she couldn't shake the feeling that everything was about to change whether she was ready or not. The Sullivan Dynamics company party was in full swing at a swanky rooftop venue downtown, with twinkling lights, a live jazz band, and enough champagne to drown a small army. Jake stood by the bar, nursing a whiskey, his tuxedo slightly rumpled from an earlier dance-off with Marcus. The man was a billionaire, but he partied like a frat bro, and the crowd loved him for it. Employees mingled, laughed, and whispered about the day's drama. Maya Jackson, the janitor who'd stolen the show in the boardroom. Jake's mind kept drifting to her. The way she'd handled Leeway, the fire in her eyes when Lauren tried to tear her down. He'd spent years surrounded by people who kissed his ass or wanted something from him. Maya was different. She didn't give a damn about his money or his charm, and that made her dangerous. In a good way. Maybe. Marcus sidled up, a beer in hand. Yo, Jake, you okay? You're staring into that whiskey like it's gonna tell you the meaning of life. Jake snorted. Just thinking. That Maya chick, she's something else, huh? Marcus grinned, wiggling his eyebrows. Oh, you've got it bad. What is it? Her brains? Her attitude? Or the fact that she called you out in front of everyone? All of the above, Jake admitted, taking a sip. But seriously, how did we miss her? 4 years, man. She's been here, and I never noticed. Marcus shrugged. You were too busy with your revolving door of models. But yeah, she's sharp. And Lauren's pissed, which makes it even better. Jake's jaw tightened at the mention of Lauren. He'd already chewed her out for her stunt in the meeting, but she'd brushed it off, claiming she was just being honest. He was starting to see her for what she was, a control freak who'd do anything to stay on top. And Maya was in her crosshairs. Before he could dwell on it, his phone buzzed. A text from an HR contact he'd asked to dig into Maya's file. Maya Jackson, employed 4 years, janitorial staff, attended Howard University, Asian linguistics, no degree, dropped out junior year. No disciplinary issues, excellent performance reviews. Jake stared at the message, his whiskey forgotten. Howard, Asian linguistics? No wonder she'd run circles around everyone in that meeting. So why the hell was she still cleaning floors? He was about to text back when Lauren appeared, her black dress clinging to her like a second skin. Jake, we need to talk, she said, her voice low and urgent. It's about Maya. Jake sighed, setting his glass down. What now, Lauren? You already tried to tank her in front of Leeway. Let it go. Lauren's eyes narrowed. I'm trying to protect you, Jake. I just heard from a source that Maya's been talking to Leeway behind your back. Private calls. Sounds like she's negotiating with his company, maybe even selling our secrets. Jake froze, his stomach twisting. Bullshit. She's not like that. Isn't she? Lauren said, stepping closer. Think about it. She's a nobody who suddenly gets a seat at the table. Now she's cozying up to our biggest client. She's playing you, Jake, and you're falling for it. He wanted to dismiss it, to tell Lauren to shove her conspiracy theories. But a seed of doubt took root. Maya had been cagey after the meeting, brushing him off when he tried to talk. And that phone call she'd taken as she left, had that been Leeway? He shook his head, trying to clear the fog. I'll deal with it, he said curtly. Stay out of her way, Lauren. I mean it. Lauren smiled. A predator's smile. Of course, Jake. Just looking out for you. She sauntered off, leaving him alone with his thoughts and a growing sense of unease. The party was a blur of laughter and clinking glasses, but Maya had reluctantly shown up, coerced by Tina's relentless nagging. She wore a simple red dress she'd borrowed from Tina's closet, her curls loose for once, framing her face. She felt out of place among the execs and their designer labels, but Tina dragged her to the dance floor shouting, "You're a badass, Maya. Own it." Maya was halfway through a mock salsa with Tina when Jake appeared. A little unsteady, his tie completely gone now. "Well, damn," he said, his eyes raking over her. "You're not just the Mandarin girl, you're the hot Mandarin girl." Maya laughed, rolling her eyes. "Wow, Sullivan, you're drunker than I thought. That's the best you've got?" Tina cackled, giving Maya a shove. "I'm gonna get more wine. You two have fun." She winked and disappeared, leaving Maya glaring after her. Jake grinned, swaying slightly. "I'm not that drunk. Just happy to see you. You didn't have to come, you know." Yeah, well, Tina's a terrorist," Maya said, crossing her arms. "And free food's hard to pass up. Why are you bugging me? Don't you have models to flirt with?" Jake stepped closer, his voice dropping. "Maybe I'm tired of models. Maybe I want to talk to someone who doesn't kiss my ass." His eyes were intense, and for a moment, Maya forgot the crowd around them. The jazz band's saxophone wailed, and the air felt thick with possibility. Then he ruined it. "So, you gonna tell me about that call with Li Wei?" he asked, his tone sharper now. "Or are you keeping secrets, coffee girl?" Maya's smile vanished. "What the hell are you talking about?" Jake shrugged, but his eyes were hard. "Just heard you're getting cozy with our client. If you're playing some game, Maya, I need to know." She stepped back, her chest tight. "You think I'm playing you, after I saved your deal? Wow, Sullivan. Real classy." Her voice was low, but the hurt was clear. She turned to leave, but Jake grabbed her arm, his grip gentle but firm. "Wait, I'm sorry," he said, his voice softer. "I didn't mean it like that. I just..." Lauren said. "Lauren?" Maya yanked her arm free, her eyes blazing. "You're listening to that snake over me? Good luck with that, Jake." She stormed off, leaving him standing there, the party's noise swallowing his muttered curse. Back in the staff room the next morning, Maya was back in her uniform, pushing her cart with more force than necessary. The gossip mill was in overdrive, people whispering about her big moment in the meeting, her red dress at the party, and now, rumors that she was scheming with Li Wei. Lauren's handiwork, no doubt. Maya's phone buzzed with a text from Tina. "You okay? Heard Jake was a dick last night. Want me to key his car?" Maya smirked, texting back. "Tempting, but I'm good. Got a meeting with Li Wei today. Wish me luck." She tucked her phone away, her mind spinning. Li Wei's offer was a lifeline, a chance to escape this place and its petty games. But Jake's words stung more than she wanted to admit. She'd felt something in that office, something real. And now she wasn't sure what to believe. Upstairs, Jake sat in his office, nursing a hangover and a bruised ego. He'd screwed up, letting Lauren's poison get to him. Maya wasn't a schemer, she was too damn honest for that. He pulled up her HR file again, staring at the words. Howard University, Asian Linguistics. 4 years of cleaning his building and he'd never known. He slammed his laptop shut, muttering, "Dumbass." Lauren knocked, stepping inside without waiting. "Jake, we need to prep for the next meeting with Li Wei, and about Maya." "Not now," Jake snapped, standing. "I'm handling it. And Lauren, if I find out you're spreading lies about her, you're done. Understood?" Lauren's smile didn't reach her eyes. "Of course, Jake. Whatever you say." As she left, Jake grabbed his phone, hesitating before texting Maya. "I was an ass last night. Can we talk?" He hit send, but something told him he'd have to do more than apologize to fix this. Maya Jackson wasn't just a wild card, she was a game changer, and he was starting to realize he didn't want to lose her. The Jade Cafe on Michigan Avenue was a sleek little spot, all bamboo decor and overpriced lattes, with a view of Chicago's bustling, magnificent Mile. Maya Jackson sat across from Li Wei, her hands wrapped around a cup of green tea she hadn't touched. She'd swapped her uniform for a simple black dress, her curls loose, but the weight of the past 24 hours made her feel like she was carrying a damn boulder. Li Wei's offer a consulting gig with a six-figure salary was still ringing in her ears, but so was Jake's accusation from the party. "You playing some game, Maya?" Li Wei leaned forward, his sharp eyes studying her. "Miss Jackson, I'll be blunt. You're wasted at Sullivan Dynamics. A woman with your skills, your poise. You could be a bridge between our markets. My team needs you." Maya forced a smile, her fingers tightening around the cup. "I'm flattered, Mr. Wei. Really. But it's a big move. I'd be leaving a lot behind." Her mind flicked to Jake's crooked grin, his whiskey, warm voice, the way he'd looked at her in his office, and then his words at the party, sharp as a knife. Lauren said. Li Wei nodded, unfazed. "Take your time. But know this. Opportunities like this don't come twice. I'll be in Chicago another week. Call me." He slid a business card across the table, his smile polite but expectant. Maya tucked the card into her purse, her stomach churning. "I will. Thank you, Mr. Wei." They shook hands, and she watched him leave, his tailored coat disappearing into the morning crowd. For a moment she sat there, staring at the tea, wondering if she was crazy to even consider staying at Sullivan Dynamics. 4 years of scrubbing floors, dodging Lauren's venom, and now Jake thinking she was some kind of corporate spy. Maybe it was time to walk away. Her phone buzzed a text from Tina. "How'd it go with Li Wei? You a big shot yet?" Maya smirked, texting back. "Not yet, but he's serious. Gotta think." She didn't mention Jake. Tina would only lecture her about hot CEOs and bad decisions, and Maya wasn't in the mood. As she stepped out into the chilly Chicago air, her phone buzzed again. "Jake. Maya, I fucked up. Can we talk? Please." She stared at the message, her thumb hovering over the reply button. Part of her wanted to tell him to shove it. Another part, the stupid part, wanted to hear him out. She sighed, pocketing the phone. Not now. She had a shift to get to, and Lauren's bullshit to survive. Back at Sullivan Dynamics, the 50th floor was a pressure cooker. Maya pushed her cleaning cart through the halls, ignoring the whispers that followed her like a bad smell. The rumor mill had gone nuclear, people saying she was scheming with Li Wei, seducing Jake, even faking her Mandarin skills. Lauren's fingerprints were all over it. Maya kept her head down, wiping down desks, with more force than necessary, but every snicker from a passing exec made her blood boil. In the break room, Tina was waiting, her arms crossed. "Okay, spill. You look like you're about to murder someone with that rag." Maya tossed the rag onto her cart, slumping into a chair. "Lauren's spreading lies, Tina. People think I'm some kind of double agent. And Jake, he bought it. He actually thinks I'm screwing him over." Tina's jaw dropped. "That asshole. After you saved his deal? Girl, you need to march up there and set him straight." Maya shook her head, her voice low. "I'm done explaining myself. If he wants to believe Lauren's crap, that's his problem. I've got Li Wei's offer. Maybe it's time to bounce." Tina's eyes softened. "Maya, I get it. But, you sure you're ready to leave? I saw how you looked at Jake last night. There's something there, whether you admit it or not." Maya opened her mouth to argue, but the door swung open, and Lauren strutted in, her heels clicking like a countdown. Well, she said, her voice dripping with fake concern. "The star of the show. Enjoying your 15 minutes, Maya?" Maya stood, her hands on her hips. "What's your deal, Lauren? You got nothing better to do than spread lies about me?" Lauren's smile was all teeth. "Lies? Sweetie, I'm just telling the truth. You're a janitor who got too big for her britches, and now you're cozying up to Li Wei. People talk, Maya. They see through your little act." Maya stepped closer, her voice low and steady. "You want to play dirty? Fine. But don't cry when I hit back harder." Lauren laughed, unfazed. "Oh, please. You're out of your league. Enjoy your moment, because it's about to end." She turned and sauntered out, leaving a trail of perfume and venom. Tina grabbed Maya's arm. "Girl, you can't let her get away with this. She's trying to bury you." Maya's jaw tightened. "She's not burying me. She's digging her own grave." She grabbed her cart, her mind racing. Lauren had gone too far, and Maya wasn't going to roll over. Not this time. Upstairs, Jake was a wreck. His office was a mess, papers scattered, coffee cups piling up, his tie flung over a chair. He'd barely slept, replaying the party in his head. Maya's hurt expression, her sharp words. "You're listening to that snake over me?" He'd fucked up big time, and Lauren's evidence was starting to smell like bullshit. He'd called HR again, digging deeper into Maya's file, and found nothing but glowing reviews. No scheming, no secrets. Just a woman who'd been overlooked for years. His phone buzzed with an email from Lauren marked urgent. "Jake, we have a problem. Maya sent this to Li Wei's team last night." Attached was a screenshot of an email, supposedly from Maya's account, offering confidential insights into Sullivan Dynamics' pricing strategy. Jake's stomach dropped. It looked real too real. But something didn't add up. Maya wasn't stupid enough to leave a paper trail like that. Was she? He was about to call her when Lauren burst in, her face a mask of fake panic. "Jake, it's worse than I thought. That email's just the start. I heard Maya's meeting with Li Wei again today. She's selling us out, and the board's getting wind of it." Jake's hands clenched into fists. "Enough, Lauren. You've been gunning for her since the meeting. What's your angle?" Lauren blinked, all innocence. "My angle? I'm trying to save this company. If you can't see that, maybe you're too distracted by her charms." Jake stood, his voice cold. "Get out, now." Lauren hesitated, then left, her heels clicking defiantly. Jake sank into his chair, rubbing his face. He needed to talk to Maya, but first, he needed to know the truth. He grabbed his phone, texting Marcus. "Find out if that email's legit. I'm not buying Lauren's shit anymore." The boardroom was a battlefield. Lauren had pulled strings, convincing the board to hold an emergency meeting about security concerns. Maya was summoned, her cleaning cart left in the hall like a forgotten relic. She walked in, head high, but the air was thick with judgment. 7 board members sat around the table, their faces grim. Jake was there, his expression unreadable. Lauren stood at the front, a stack of papers in hand, looking like a prosecutor ready to deliver a death sentence. "Miss Jackson," Lauren began, her voice smooth as poison. "We're here to discuss allegations of misconduct. Specifically, your unauthorized communications with Li Wei's company, including this email." She slid the screenshot across the table, the damning words glaring up at Maya. Maya's heart pounded, but she kept her face neutral. "That's not my email. I didn't send it." Lauren smirked. "Really? It's from your company account. Sent at 2 a.m. last night. Care to explain?" Maya's mind raced. 2 a.m.? She'd been home, passed out after the party. Someone had set her up, and she didn't need 3 guesses to know who. She looked at Jake, hoping for a sign he believed her, but his eyes were fixed on the table, his jaw tight. "I was framed," she said, her voice steady. "Someone's trying to make me look bad, and it's not hard to figure out who." She stared at Lauren, who didn't flinch. The board chair, a gray-haired man named Harold, cleared his throat. "Miss Jackson, these are serious accusations. If true, they constitute a breach of trust. We're considering immediate termination." Maya's chest tightened, but she stood taller. "Fire me if you want, but I'm not the one you should be looking at. Check the email logs. Check who had access to my account. You'll find your traitor, and it's not me." Lauren laughed, a sharp, grating sound. "Oh, Maya, you think you're so clever, but you're just a janitor who got too big for her boots. This isn't your world." Jake finally spoke, his voice low but sharp. "Lauren, that's enough. Maya, sit down. We're not done here." Maya hesitated, then took a seat, her hands clenched in her lap. The board murmured, papers rustling, as Lauren launched into a tirade about trust and professionalism. But Maya barely heard her. She was done being a punching bag. If they wanted a fight, she'd give them one. That night, Maya was back in Jake's office, her cleaning shift over, her patience gone. She'd come to return her employee badge, ready to walk away for good. The city lights glittered through the windows, casting shadows across the room. Jake was there, his shirt untucked, a glass of whiskey in his hand. He looked up as she entered, his eyes heavy with something she couldn't quite read. "Maya," he said, setting the glass down. "You didn't have to come up here." "Ain't." She tossed the badge onto his desk, her voice flat. "I'm done, Jake. You want to believe Lauren's lies, fine. But I'm not sticking around to be your scapegoat." Jake stood, rounding the desk. "Wait, just hold on. I don't believe her. Not anymore. I was an idiot, okay? I should have trusted you." Maya laughed, a bitter sound. "Trusted me? You accused me of selling you out, in front of everyone. You think a sorry fixes that?" He stepped closer, his voice rough. "I know I fucked up, but I'm trying here, Maya. I don't want you to go." She shook her head, her eyes burning. "Why? So I can keep saving your ass while Lauren paints me as the bad guy? I'm tired, Jake. Tired of being invisible. Tired of fighting for a place I don't even belong." "You belong," he said, his voice fierce. "You belong more than anyone in this damn building. You're not invisible to me, Maya. You never were." The air crackled between them, charged with too many unspoken things. Maya's breath hitched as Jake closed the distance, his hand brushing her arm. "Don't go," he whispered, his eyes locked on hers. "Please." She should have pulled away, should have walked out. But his touch, his voice, the raw need in his eyesight undid her. Before she could think, he leaned in, his lips crashing against hers, hot and desperate. Maya kissed him back, her hands gripping his shirt, the world narrowing to the heat of his mouth, the press of his body. He lifted her onto the desk, papers scattering, his hands sliding up her thighs. "Damn, Maya," he murmured against her lips. "You're driving me fucking crazy." She laughed, breathless, her fingers tangling in his hair. "You're already crazy, Sullivan. But I like this kind of crazy." Their kisses deepened, a hungry edge to them, and for a moment, nothing else mattered, not Lauren, not the board, not the lies. But then reality crashed in. Maya pulled back, her chest heaving. "Jake, stop. If you don't trust me, this doesn't mean anything." He froze, his hands still on her hips, his eyes searching hers. "I trust you," he said, his voice raw. "I swear, Maya, I'm gonna fix this." She slid off the desk, smoothing her dress, her heart pounding. "Then prove it. Because I'm not your fling, Jake. I'm worth more than that." She grabbed her badge and walked out, leaving him standing there, his office a mess, his world turned upside down. The next morning, Maya was in the staff room, her head spinning from the night before. Tina was there, scrolling through her phone, when she gasped. "Maya, check this out. Someone leaked that fake email to the company Slack. Everyone's freaking out." Maya's blood ran cold. She grabbed her phone, pulling up the Slack channel. The email was everywhere, with comments piling up. "She's a traitor. Jake's pet project. Knew she didn't belong." Her hands shook, but then Tina grabbed her arm, pointing to a new message from an IT guy named Raj. "Emails fake. Sent from a hacked account. I've got the logs." Maya's heart leapt. "Tina, we need to get to Raj, now." Tina nodded, already on her feet. "Let's do this. Lauren's about to eat her own bullshit." As they headed for the IT department, Maya felt a spark of hope. Lauren had pushed her to the edge, but Maya wasn't done. She'd spent 4 years watching, learning, waiting. And now it was time to fight back. The IT department at Sullivan Dynamics was a maze of cubicles, blinking monitors, and the faint hum of overworked servers. Maya Jackson stormed in, her cleaning uniform swapped for jeans and a hoodie, her curls bouncing with every determined step. Tina Morales trailed behind, clutching a Starbucks cup like it was her lifeline. They were on a mission, and Raj Patel, the IT guy who dropped the bombshell on Slack, was their target. "Raj," Maya called, spotting him at a corner desk, his glasses reflecting code on his screen. "We need to talk. Now, Raj looked up, startled, his energy drink nearly toppling. Maya, right? The one from the email drama? Damn, you move fast. Tina plopped into a chair, sipping her latte. Yeah, and we're not here to mess around. You said that email was fake. Spill the tea. Raj adjusted his glasses, glancing around like he was in a spy movie. Okay, look, I checked the server logs after that Slack post blew up. The email to Li Wei? Sent from your account, Maya, but the IP address doesn't match any device registered to you. Someone hacked in, and they weren't subtle about it. Maya's heart raced. Can you prove it? Like, show who did it. Raj grinned, cracking his knuckles. Already did. The IP traces to a laptop in the executive suite. Guess whose name's on the device registration? He paused for effect, then whispered, Lauren Baxter. Tina let out a triumphant whoop, nearly spilling her coffee. Holy shit, Maya, we've got her. That snake's done for. Maya's jaw tightened, a mix of relief and fury washing over her. 4 years of Lauren's snide comments, her subtle jabs, her not-so-subtle racism, all led to this. Raj, can you get me those logs? And anything else you've got on Lauren? Emails, files, anything shady. Oh. Raj nodded, already typing. Give me an hour. I'll burn you a USB with everything. But, be careful. Lauren's got friends upstairs. You're poking a hornet's nest. Maya smirked, her eyes glinting. Good. Let's see how she likes getting stung. She grabbed Tina's arm, pulling her toward the door. Come on. We've got work to do. Up on the 50th floor, Jake Sullivan was pacing his office, his shirt sleeves rolled up, his hair a mess from running his hands through it too many times. The past 24 hours had been a shit show. Maya's betrayal, or so he'd thought, had hit him harder than he'd expected. But now he was sure Lauren was playing him. That email was too convenient, too perfect, and Maya's face when he'd accused her hurt, angry, real kept replaying in his head. He'd fucked up, and not just a little. His phone buzzed with a text from Marcus. Email's fishy. Raj says it's a hack. Lauren's laptop's the source. You owe Maya an apology, dumbass. Jake's stomach twisted. He'd known Lauren was ruthless. But this was next-level dirty. He grabbed his jacket, ready to hunt Maya down, when his assistant buzzed the intercom. Mr. Sullivan, the board's called an emergency meeting. They want you there. Now. Jake cursed under his breath, storming out. Whatever this was, it had Lauren's fingerprints all over it. And if Maya was in the crossfire, he wasn't letting her face it alone. The boardroom was a pressure cooker, the air thick with tension. 7 board members sat around the mahogany table, their faces a mix of boredom and irritation. Lauren stood at the front, her red power suit screaming confidence, a projector screen behind her displaying the fake email. Maya sat at the far end, her hoodie and jeans a stark contrast to the suits around her, but her posture was pure steel. Jake was across from her, his eyes flicking between her and Lauren, his jaw tight. Tina had snuck in, standing by the door, ready to cheer or throw hands, depending on how this went. Harold, the board chair, cleared his throat. Miss Baxter, you've made serious allegations against Miss Jackson. Let's hear it. Lauren smiled, her voice smooth as silk. Thank you, Harold. As I've shown, Maya sent confidential information to Li Wei's company, jeopardizing our $300 million deal. This is a clear breach of trust, and I recommend immediate termination, followed by legal action. Maya's hands clenched under the table, but she kept her face neutral. She'd slipped Raj's USB into her pocket before the meeting, and it felt like a loaded gun. She just needed the right moment. Harold turned to her. Miss Jackson, your response. Maya stood, her voice calm but firm. That email's fake. I didn't send it. Someone hacked my account, and I have proof. She pulled out the USB, holding it up like a trophy. Server logs, IP traces, and a whole lot more. You want to know who's really screwing this company? It's not me. Lauren's smile faltered, just for a second. That's absurd, she said, her voice sharp. You're fabricating evidence to save yourself. The board won't fall for it. Jake leaned forward, his voice cutting through. "Let her talk, Lauren. If she's got proof, we need to see it." His eyes met Maya's, and for the first time, she saw something there: trust, maybe even regret. It wasn't enough to fix things, but it was a start. Harold nodded. "Plug it in, Miss Jackson. Let's see what you've got." Maya connected the USB to the projector, her hands steady despite the pounding in her chest. The screen lit up with Raj's file server logs showing the hack, the IP address tied to Lauren's laptop, and a bombshell, a folder of deleted emails from Lauren's account. Maya clicked one open, her voice steady as she read aloud. "Tell Lee Wei's team we can undercut Sullivan's pricing if they delay the deal. Sent from Lauren Baxter to a competitor. 3 weeks ago." The room went dead silent. Maya clicked another. "Here's one from last month, instructing HR to block promotions for certain employees." Her words, not mine. Guess who those employees were? Me and 3 other people of color. The board members shifted, their faces darkening. Harold's voice was icy. "Miss Baxter, care to explain?" Lauren's face was a mask of panic now, her red lipstick stark against her paling skin. "This is a setup. She's lying. Those emails are fake." Maya didn't flinch. "Fake? Like the one you sent from my account? Or like the recordings Raj pulled from the security system?" She played a clip, Lauren's voice echoing through the room. "We can't let people like Maya think they belong in these meetings. It's about standards." The timestamp was from a month ago, a private chat with Marcus in the executive lounge. Marcus, sitting at the table, choked on his water, his face red. Okay, that was out of context," he stammered, earning a glare from Jake. Jake stood, his voice low, but lethal. "Lauren, you're done. You've been manipulating this company for years, and I'm sick of it." "Harold, I move to suspend her, effective immediately." Lauren jumped to her feet, her voice shrill. "You can't do this. I've given everything to this company. She's just a janitor, Jake, a nobody." Maya stepped forward, her eyes locked on Lauren. "A nobody who just took you down. Funny how that works." Her voice was calm, but the room felt the weight of it. Tina by the door pumped her fist silently, grinning like a kid at Christmas. Harold banged his gavel. "Miss Baxter, you're suspended pending a full investigation. Security will escort you out." 2 guards appeared, and Lauren's face crumpled, her composure shattered. She shot Maya a venomous look as she was led away, her heels clicking like a death knell. The board adjourned, the members filing out, whispering furiously. Jake approached Maya, his expression a mix of relief and guilt. "Maya, She cut him off, her voice cold. "Save it, Jake. You believed her over me. You don't get to just smile and make it okay." She grabbed the USB, turning to leave, but he stepped in front of her. "I was wrong," he said, his voice raw. "I let Lauren get in my head and I hurt you. I'm sorry, Maya. I trust you completely. And I like you. More than I should." Maya's heart skipped, but she kept her guard up. "You like me? Great. But I'm not your project, Jake. I'm not here to fix your mess or stroke your ego. If you want my trust, earn it." She brushed past him, her head high, leaving him standing there, his hands in his pockets. His world rocked. Tina caught up with her in the hall, squealing. "Girl, you just slayed a dragon. Lauren's toast and you're a freaking hero." Maya managed to smile, but her chest was tight. "Yeah, but at what cost? Everyone still sees me as the janitor who got lucky." Tina grabbed her shoulders. "Screw what they see. You're Maya Jackson, badass extraordinaire. And Jake, he's got it bad for you. Don't give up on him yet." Maya sighed, glancing back at the boardroom. Jake was still there, watching her through the glass, his expression unreadable. She turned away, her mind spinning. She'd won this round, but the war wasn't over. Not yet. Later that day, Maya was in the staff room, her hoodie swapped for her uniform, ready to finish her shift. Tina had dragged her to the break room for a victory coffee, but Maya's mind was elsewhere. Raj had sent her more files, proof that Lauren had been sabotaging deals for years, including one that cost a black-owned startup a contract with Sullivan Dynamics. It was enough to bury Lauren for good, maybe even land her in court. Her phone buzzed a text from Lee Wei. "Miss Jackson, I heard about the board meeting. Impressive. My offer stands. Let's discuss tomorrow." Maya stared at the message, her thumb hovering. Lee Wei's job could be her ticket out, a fresh start. But leaving meant walking away from Jake, from the company she'd fought for, from the life she was just starting to build. The door swung open, and Jake stepped in, his tie gone, his shirt untucked. Tina raised an eyebrow, muttering, "I'm out," and slipped away, leaving them alone. "Maya," Jake started, his voice hesitant, "I know you're pissed, and you've got every right, but I need you to know I'm not letting Lauren's shit ruin what we could have. You're not just some employee to me. You're, hell, you're everything." Maya crossed her arms, her heart pounding. "Pretty words, Sullivan, but words don't fix trust. You want to prove you're different? Show me, because I'm done with games." He nodded, his eyes steady. "I will, whatever it takes. Just don't walk away yet. Please." She held his gaze, the air thick with unspoken promises. "I'm not promising anything," she said finally, "but I'm listening." She turned to her cart, pushing it toward the door, but a small smile tugged at her lips. Jake Sullivan was a mess, but maybe, just maybe, he was worth a shot. As she left, Jake called after her, "Hey, coffee girl, you're a damn force of nature." She didn't turn back, but her smile grew. Lauren was down, but the fight wasn't over. And Maya Jackson, she was just getting started. 6 months later, the 50th floor of Sullivan Dynamics buzzed with a new kind of energy. The glass-walled offices still screamed money, but the vibe was different, less cutthroat, more human. Maya Jackson stood in her new office, a corner suite with a view of Chicago's glittering skyline. Her desk was covered with contracts in Mandarin, English, and Cantonese, each one a testament to the empire she was building. At 30, she was no longer the janitor pushing a cart. She was Director of International Relations, a title she'd earned through blood, sweat, and a hell of a lot of nerve. She adjusted her navy blazer tailored, not borrowed, and flipped through a report. Her latest deal with Lee Wei's company had brought in $500 million, tripling Sullivan Dynamics' foothold in Asia. The board had practically thrown a parade, and Jake Sullivan, for once, hadn't taken the credit. He'd stood in the boardroom, grinning like a proud kid, and said, "This is Maya's win. I'm just lucky to be in the room." Maya smirked at the memory, her pen tapping the desk. Jake. The man was still a walking disaster, late to meetings, terrible at texting back, and way too fond of whiskey. But he'd changed. No more tabloid scandals. No more revolving door of models. He'd even started a mentorship program for underrepresented employees, inspired by Maya's story. She wasn't sure if it was guilt or something deeper, but she couldn't deny he was trying. Her phone buzzed, pulling her from her thoughts. A text from Tina. "South Korean team's here. They're hyped to meet the woman who's kicking ass in Asia. You ready?" Maya chuckled, texting back, "Born ready. Get me coffee, traitor." Tina, now her personal assistant, had jumped at the chance to work for Maya, claiming it was better than answering phones for suits who can't spell my name. The door swung open, and Jake poked his head in, his hair slightly mussed, his tie predictably crooked. "Yo, Director Jackson," he said, grinning. "You got a sec for your lowly CEO?" Maya leaned back in her chair, raising an eyebrow. "Lowly? Please. You're still milking that billionaire playboy shtick. What do you want, Sullivan?" He stepped inside, closing the door. "Just checking in. South Koreans are downstairs, and I hear they're bringing their A-game. You need anything? Backup? Coffee? A quick pep talk from your biggest fan?" She laughed, shaking her head. "I'm good, but maybe fix your tie. You look like you got dressed in a windstorm." Jake glanced down, chuckling as he fumbled with the knot. Yeah, give me a break. I'm trying to be a responsible adult here." He paused, his eyes softening. "Seriously, Maya, you're killing it. I'm proud of you." Her chest warmed, but she kept her tone light. Don't get sappy on me, Sullivan. I've got a meeting to crush. She stood, grabbing her tablet, but Jake's hand brushed her arm, stopping her. Hang on, he said, his voice lower now. I was thinking, dinner tonight? Just us. No work, no drama. I owe you a real date, not some office chaos. Maya's heart skipped, but she smirked. A date? You sure you can handle me without spilling coffee on my dress? He grinned, stepping closer. I'll take my chances. What do you say, coffee girl? Give me a shot? She held his gaze, the air crackling with that familiar spark. Fine, she said finally, but if you're late, I'm eating your dessert. Deal? Deal, he said, his smile wide enough to light up the room. He leaned in like he might kiss her, but she dodged, laughing. Save it, Sullivan. I've got Koreans to impress. She brushed past him, her hips swaying just enough to make him groan. Evil, he muttered, but he was still grinning as she left. Downstairs, the conference room was packed. The South Korean delegation, led by a sharp-eyed woman named Miss Kim, greeted Maya with respectful nods. She dove into the meeting, her Mandarin and English weaving seamlessly as she pitched a new AI partnership. Miss Kim was tough, firing questions like bullets, but Maya was tougher, her answers crisp and confident. By the end, the Koreans were smiling, and Miss Kim pulled her aside. Miss Jackson, she said in accented English, you're a rare talent. We'll be in touch. She handed Maya a business card, her smile warm. And please, call me Sujin. I suspect we'll be friends. Maya pocketed the card, her chest swelling. Thank you, Sujin. I look forward to it. As the delegation left, Tina high-fived her, whispering, You're a freaking rock star. But the victory was bittersweet. Maya's mind drifted to Lauren Baxter, the woman who'd tried to bury her 6 months ago. After the boardroom showdown, Lauren had been fired, her career in tatters. Raj's files had uncovered more than just the fake email years of shady deals, discriminatory emails, even a scheme to funnel company funds to a side hustle. The feds were sniffing around now, and Lauren's name was mud in every major business circle. Maya hadn't celebrated, though. Taking Lauren down wasn't about revenge, it was about justice, and maybe a little bit about proving she belonged. She'd used her new salary, $300,000 a year, a number that still made her dizzy toe pay off her mom's medical bills and enroll in an executive MBA at Northwestern. Her mom, now stable, called every week, her voice thick with pride. You're my miracle baby, she'd said last night. Always knew you'd shine. Maya's biggest move, though, was the scholarship she'd started at Howard University. The Second Chance Fund covered tuition for students who'd had to drop out, just like she had. 20 kids were already enrolled, and every time she got a thank you letter, she felt like she was paying back the universe for her own shot. That evening, Maya was back in her office, working late on a contract. The floor was quiet, the city lights painting the walls with a soft glow. She was halfway through a spreadsheet when Jake knocked, leaning against the doorframe, a takeout bag in hand. Thought you might be hungry, he said, holding up the bag. Thai food. No coffee, I swear. Maya laughed, pushing her laptop aside. You're learning. Come in, but don't make a mess. I run a tight ship. Oh. He set the bag on her desk, pulling out containers of pad thai and mango sticky rice. Tight ship, huh? You're scarier than Lauren ever was. She swatted his arm, grinning. Watch it, Sullivan. I've got a mean right hook. They ate in comfortable silence, the kind that only comes when you've been through hell together. Jake watched her, his eyes soft, and she felt that spark again, the one that had started with a spilled coffee and a smart-ass comeback. So, he said, leaning back in his chair, you ever think about where we'd be if I hadn't been a clumsy idiot that day? Maya smirked, popping a piece of mango in her mouth. I'd still be cleaning your floors and you'd still be chasing models. Guess we both got lucky. He laughed, but his voice turned serious. I mean it, Maya. You changed me. I was drifting. Parties, deals, bullshit. But you made me want to be better. For you, for this company, for myself. Her throat tightened. and she set her fork down. "Jake, you don't get to make me cry at work. That's a rule." He reached across the desk, his hand covering hers. "No crying, just truth. I'm not perfect, Maya. I'll probably screw up again, hell, I know I will. But I want this. Us. For real." The air stilled, the city outside fading away. Maya looked at him, really looked, and saw the man behind the headlines. Flawed, messy, but trying. She leaned in, her lips brushing his, soft and slow. A promise more than a kiss. "All right, Sullivan," she whispered, pulling back. "We'll try, but if you spill coffee on me again, it's over." He grinned, pulling her closer. "Deal, but I'm keeping you away from all beverages just to be safe." They laughed, the sound filling the room, and for the first time, Maya felt like she was exactly where she belonged. The next week, Jake called a board meeting to announce the semester's results. The room was packed, every seat filled, and Maya stood at the front, her navy blazer a nod to her old uniform, but now a choice, not a necessity. Jake took the podium, his voice steady. "Maya Jackson didn't just save our deal with Leeway," he said, his eyes finding hers. "She opened doors we didn't even know existed. Our Asian market's up 300%, and it's because of her. She's not just an asset, she's the future of this company." The room erupted in applause, and Harold, the board chair, stood, his face warm. "In my 30 years here, I've never seen a transformation like Maya's. She's proof that talent doesn't care about titles or backgrounds. We're lucky to have her." Maya nodded, her throat tight. She remembered the woman who'd cleaned this room 6 months ago, invisible to everyone but herself. Now, she was mentoring 5 employees from the janitorial and support staff, helping them climb the ladder she'd scaled. She wasn't just surviving anymore, she was building. That night, in her new apartment on the Upper West Side, Maya got a call from her mom. "Saw you on the news, baby," she said, her voice thick. "Talking about your scholarship, your deals. I'm so proud." Maya smiled, curling up on her couch, the Chicago skyline twinkling outside. "Learned from you, Mom. You always said patience is power." Her mom laughed. "And you proved it. Don't ever let anyone dim your light, you hear?" "Never," Maya said, her voice firm. She hung up, looking out at the city she'd once watched from the shadows. Now, she was part of it, her name in boardrooms, her story in headlines. Business Week had called her the translator who redefined corporate America, and Forbes wanted her for their young influencers list. She wasn't just visible, she was blazing. Across town, Lauren Baxter sat in a cramped Queens apartment, her once pristine life reduced to a coffee table piled with bills and rejection letters. The federal investigation into her schemes had hit hard, a $75,000 fine, a 5-year ban from corporate jobs, and a reputation in tatters. She'd seen Maya's face on a magazine cover, smiling beside Leeway, and it had felt like a slap. For the first time, Lauren's tears weren't for herself, but for the realization of what she'd lost and what she'd tried to destroy. Back at Sullivan Dynamics, Maya was at Howard University, announcing the latest round of her scholarship program. No one should have to choose between family and dreams, she told a crowd of 500 students, her voice steady. "You're not defined by where you start. You're defined by where you go." One. The applause was deafening, and as she stepped off the stage, Jake was there, waiting in the wings. "Nice speech, coffee girl," he said, his grin soft. "You're making me look bad." She laughed, nudging him. "Good. Keep up, Sullivan." He pulled her close, his lips brushing her forehead, and she let herself lean into him just for a moment. Later, in her office, Jake found her staring out at the skyline. "You okay?" he asked, his voice gentle. She nodded, turning to him. "Yeah, just thinking about how far I've come. 4 years ago, I was invisible. Now I'm here." He took her hand, his thumb brushing her knuckles. "You were never invisible, Maya. Not to me. Not to anyone who mattered." She smiled, her heart full. The best revenge wasn't tearing Lauren down, it was building something bigger, brighter, unstoppable. She was Maya Jackson, and her story was just beginning. If Maya's journey from janitor to juggernaut lit a fire in you, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment. Who's the invisible hero in your life, ready to blaze? Tell me below, and let's keep this story shining.